What is up, everybody? Kyle Willkom here. I'm the founder of TeachingYouMoney.com, and today we're talking about one smart money move to make while you're still in high school. Specifically, I'm going to talk about a Roth IRA, what it is, why it's so valuable, and what it can potentially do for your future. I think high school students should consider a Roth IRA. I'll take you through why it's such a valuable tool and how to get started, but first, I should mention that this recommendation should not put you into debt. If it does, it isn't worth it. Start a Roth IRA later on when you've eliminated your debt and funded an emergency fund with 3 months of your expenses. If you've done those things, let's dive in. What is an IRA? IRA simply stands for Individual Retirement Account. You may be thinking, Kyle, why should I start a retirement account while I'm still in high school? And that's a great question. I'll show you the magic of compound interest in just a moment. But the basic idea is that the earlier you set up an investment account, the sooner you give yourself a chance to let your money work for you. You want your money to grow on itself. What does Roth mean? First and foremost, don't get hung up on this. There are two types of standard IRAs, a Roth and a traditional. These are the ones that people typically use. I recommend you use a Roth simply because you won't pay taxes on your money when you decide to take it out later on in life. Sounds pretty good, right? Trust me, it is. Why is it a good idea to start a Roth IRA early in your life? So I mentioned just a moment ago about the magic of compound interest. And before you even ask, the answer is yes, it is very real. Just because I call it magic doesn't mean it's fantastical or some illusion that you can't get to. The reason compound interest is so magical is this: the longer you keep your money invested, the more your interest will grow on itself. I'll make it easy to understand, but then I'll give you some really exciting numbers. Let's say you put $100 into some kind of investment, and you expect that investment to grow by 10% every year. At the end of the first year, you'll have $110 because 10% of 100 is $10. So add them up, you've earned 10% more or $10 on your $100 because it was invested. Make sense so far? Then the magic starts to happen. In year 2, you're not just earning interest on your initial $100. You now have $110. You're earning interest on the entire $110 you now have in the investment. If your $110 grows at a 10% rate, so the same rate that you just grew it in year 1, your money will grow by $11 in year 2, not the $10 that it grew in year 1. So you'll now have $121. This will continue to happen over time. Your money is now compounding. Your money is growing on itself. Let's see how this works in your favor over time, because over the course of time, it continues to grow at a more rapid, at a faster, at a higher pace. So as you can see, I'm just going to put the numbers right here. I'm not going to just walk you through all of them verbally, but you can see by year 10, your $100 without putting any more money into it has grown to $259.34. Money grows on itself when it is invested, even when no extra money is added to it. When does compound interest become magic? This is the best question that you can ask, because the numbers I just talked about may not get you very excited, and that's okay. But let's take a look at some numbers that might get you pretty excited. Let's say you start a Roth IRA and hustle. You work super hard, you grind it out to get $1,000 in it by the time you're done with college at the age of 22. You then get a job and invest $300 per month into your Roth IRA from your paycheck every single month. You will have over $1 million by the age of 57. You'll have more than $1 million before you even turn 60 because you started investing just $300 per month early on in your life. I realize that not everyone has goals to become a millionaire, but the numbers that I just talked about are very real. Starting early and being consistent in your investments over time can lead to some pretty exciting numbers later on. If you'd like an easy way to play around with some compound interest numbers on your own, I've included a link to a compound interest calculator. Just click in that section on the blog below. If you're watching this on YouTube, head to teachingyoumoney.com, find this blog. There's a link inside of it. I would love for you to play around with your own numbers to figure out what's going to work best for you. When can you start a Roth IRA? If you're 18 in most states, you'll be able to start a Roth IRA on your own right now in this very moment if you'd like. If you're under 18, you'll need an adult to set up what is called a custodial account for you. Not all banks or investment platforms offer the ability to create a custodial account, but Fidelity and Charles Schwab both offer the ability to set one up. Both of these financial institutions don't require a minimum to start your account, so you can set up with as little money as you'd like and get started. What funds should you keep your money in? A Roth IRA is simply an account. You'll still have to decide how your money in this account is invested. If you're confused about what you should invest in when setting up your Roth IRA, I'd just recommend picking the S&P 500 index fund for now to make it very easy on yourself. But I am not a financial advisor, so this is not legal advice. By choosing the S&P 500 index fund, you'll automatically be investing in the top 500 companies in the United States. I think this is a pretty good option. Maybe later on you'll get a little bit further down the line, you'll learn more, you'll pick some options that work better for you, but it's a great way to get started. Get money into your IRA. Once you've set this account up and you've determined where you'd like your money to be invested, you'll want to hustle a bit, grind it out to get money in there. There are lots of ways to start filling your Roth IRA. Ask your parents if they'd contribute a small amount towards your Roth IRA every month for the chores that you do. Send a message to your relatives saying you're starting to learn about money. See if they'd each send you $10 to get started with your first ever investments. Set aside some money from your part-time job to put into a Roth IRA every month. See if your friends would Venmo you $5 for your birthday that you can use to invest in your future. Little bits here and there will add up, especially if you're starting while you're in high school, because you may have 40 to 50 years before you'll retire, or sooner with some tips like these. In those 40 to 50 years, your money will continue to grow on itself because it is invested instead of sitting in your dresser drawer. One last requirement. Legally, you're required to have some kind of income if you're starting a Roth IRA as a minor. You're only allowed to contribute as much as you earn in a year. So if you make $2,000 per year at your part-time job, but your rich uncle wants to put $6,000 into your Roth IRA for you, sorry, that's not going to fly with the IRS. Keep this in mind as you get started. Get started with a Roth IRA while in high school. By starting a Roth IRA while you're in high school, you give your money a chance to grow on itself year after year after year. And if you continue to follow my guidelines, tips, and tricks, keep coming back to the blog or the YouTube channel, you'll be amazed by how much you'll save for your future self by taking small steps like this one early on in your life. Thanks for tuning into this video. If you want more things like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel or head on over to the Teaching You Money blog at teachingyoumoney.com. Feel free to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It is free. We give you tips, tricks, and advice on how to grow your wealth over time. Again, I'm Kyle Willkom. Thanks for tuning in.